Just to give myself a pass really quick, I have not done a seasonal review in quite some time, so I must see if I still have it. And ReZero is quite the show to test that out on. Episode, 39 of season 2, I believe it was. The show just knows how to start off, it's prequels and or sequels and just freaking capture you right back into where you left off. It really just truly knows how to wrap its fingers around you, like the Jealous Witch does around Subaru in a sense, right? It just brings you right in. With no more than 5 minutes, 5 seconds, I was back into this show. I was super invested. The OST throughout the entirety of this episode was fantastic. It just hit every time. And I love how ReZero can use things that are similar to what they used in the past, but still be different, while also keeping the things that, the OSTs that make certain scenarios amazing still there. They don't just discard them. And that's cool to see because a lot of shows do. Like sometimes we're like, we miss that old OST. And then if you do replace an old OST that hits, you have to like kind of re-engage the fans into a new OST that they actually like, which is hard to do. You're not always going to like, OSTs, it's just that simple. It's just not always going to be a thing. But nonetheless, let's talk about one of the greatest things in this episode and for the series moving forward. Otto truly is that friend that Subaru needed. Looking at what Otto did this episode, whenever he's just beating up Subaru, I love the symbolism there. You got us again, Taipei Nagasaki. And the reason is this, guys. What he did there was showing that Otto is supposed to be, let's be honest, all of us probably thought Otto was the weakest guy. Anime onlys, we thought he's the weakest guy among the group. Like if there's one person Subaru could take, it was Otto, right? In terms of just physical combat, no time loop, no powers. And we see that Otto is far superior than even Subaru in terms of physical strength. We see that he actually knows how to fight, it looks like. And what the show was trying to do there was showcase that Otto knew he was supposed to be the weakest. And he even states, oh, this is all the strength you have. And that was just to show Subaru, look, you're not strong. You know a lot of things, and there's a lot of ominous omens that you give off, and there's probably more to you than meets the eye, and I think everyone kind of knows that, but yet you always find a way. So there is something more to you than meets the eye. But you can't get through things if you don't trust the people around you. He says showing off to your girlfriend's fine, or showing off to the one that you love is fine, acting tough. Acting tough for the one that likes you is fine. But you don't do that stuff with your friends. You don't act tough with your friends. You be their friend. You be genuine. You ask them for help. You humble yourself. You ego check yourself in order to work with them and help you and be there for you, right? And support you. And that's something Subaru has really never done. I mean, Rim is the closest person he's allowed to support him. And even then, he didn't necessarily, it wasn't the same support as Subaru's getting in this arc, right? The last 10 or 13 episodes season 2, and I guess the beginning of season 2 this time. So like the last 13, 14 episodes. And it makes me wonder if he would have let Rim help him in the situation. Me personally, I think he would have forced Rim to help. I mean, Rim would have forced him, right? Rim would have known what's going on. And Subaru, he told a lot about himself to Rim. Would he have told her a lot about what's going on in this new hell? Because if I remember back, Subaru said to Garfield, I've been to hell. And the reason why I'm still there is because I don't want anyone else to have to go through that. And that's the biggest problem. Subaru was being greedy in the sense he wanted to take all of this on by himself because he didn't want anyone else to go through that. He stated that. And that was his ultimate demise. He had to allow others to be there for him. He had to allow other people to care for him. And that was the big issue with him not caring about, him not surviving or not, because he had the time loop. He had his return by death. And the whole situation with that was he just didn't care anymore. He knew he could come back, and he didn't care about his life. And through that, it had Subaru just kind of, I don't need to put anyone else through this. I'll just keep going through this. It's okay. And the whole time it wasn't, because he wasn't getting anywhere. He was still leaving people hurt in the past, because each time he did do the return by death, that death still counted in that situation. And that's huge. That's freaking huge. That's so huge, man. And it just goes so well with what ReZero does with this whole show. And I just absolutely adore what the show is able to do on a weekly basis. But moving on to the next thing, actually, though, the bet with Roswaal, that I think that was absolutely phenomenal as well. The whole bet with Roswaal with, hey, I need you. I don't like you. And Roswaal even checks him. He's like, you can forgive me. Like, you know what I'm doing. Like, you're not going to forget this. I know you're always going to remember this. No matter what loop it is, I still have the past that I have. You reached that checkpoint. There's no going back. And especially since it all began with Amelia. Amelia turns out to only be in the ruler selection because of Roswaal. I mean, think about that. But what's cool about this all was, hey, put your whole clown mask back on. Put on your makeup. Because there's two clowns that are at the mercy of fate. So let's fight this square, this evenly. Hey, I told you I'm getting back into the seasonal reviewing, so give me a break here. But he said, so let's fight this fair and square, right? And that's cool to see because a lot of shows you know what the dialogue's about to be said. You just know what's about to be said. But with ReZero, like, it has a cool way with this dialogue. I love the wordplay that ReZero uses. It's just, it's refreshing. It's different, and they may be saying the same thing as other shows sometimes, but they say it in a far different way. And of course, ReZero it's not like other shows. There's very few shows that are a fantasy like ReZero that also have a like checkpoint kind of system like a video game. It's not quite like ReZero is. Time looping is a little bit different. Checkpoints are set up at certain points. Like once you pass a certain point, you can't go all the way back. Like Steins Gate, you could go all the way back to the beginning. Not in this. So everything matters. Like you got to make sure you take care of business and do it correctly. And nothing can be a means to an end, because if you even use something as a means to an end, like a friend or an ally, that ally or friend may be gone. There's no experimenting. There's no experiments. Like you have to do it right. And you got to pray that you don't meet that checkpoint, something doesn't go your way. I mean, that's the whole thing with Echidna. That's why he did not want to work with her, because things would be a means to an end. Yeah, she'd get things done because she's so dang powerful, and they'd be able to return by death and have the POV that the other enemy would not. And with that kind of power, it would be to their advantage, overwhelmingly so. So that's that's a nice way to do that. And I love how Subaru's just kind of like, Subaru ego checks himself. He's like, I need you on our side. One, if Emilio's going to win. Two, I need you in our crowd. I may not ever like you, but I can try to respect you. And maybe I can't even do that. But nonetheless, I know I need you a part of this group if we want to get through this. It's just that plain and simple. So, other than that, though, we also have the whole Garfiel thing. We know that Frederica left, right? She went to the outside world, and that's kind of why he doesn't like her. Well, we find out that their mom did that. And oddly enough, Garfiel took his mom's name instead of his dad's even, or he takes her name, Tenzel. And she said, and Ryuzu said that was either out of anger or sadness or whatever it was. I think it was out of both, right? It put a chip on his shoulder, and he has a chip on his shoulder that's not there for the right reasons, and it's something that he's letting hang over his head, right? It's like that rain cloud that's always following him around and raining on him. He's not going about it the right way. It's just that plain and simple. So it's a personal thing, right? He was young when she left. Clearly, he's only like Subaru's age now. And it's too much for him. It's too much weight on his shoulders, and that's why he doesn't want to break free the sanctuary. That's why he's kind of like, because he's afraid of the outside world, because the outside world has taken everything from him, and that makes sense. Garfield should be mad. He should be sad. He should be confused. I think that's really the best way to put it. Garfield is confused. That's what his character is. That's why he acts the way he does, right? That's the best way I could even put it. But Ryuzu, and knowing that there's another Ryuzu that got banned and lives in the forest, I wonder if that's actually where Subaru went at the end of the episode. I didn't know why he would leave Amelia's bedside, especially knowing that would definitely hurt her. But he's back, he's talking to her, and that conversation is going to be really interesting for next week's episode. But at the same time, another thing that really kind of gets me is, what did he say? What did he do? I know I just said I still think he went to talk to the Ryuzu that was banned, because that's the only way to get on Garfield's side, which we see Garfield at the end of the episode, which would indicate they're going the Garfield route now. And once again, Otto he's like, the host of this banquet is gone. Would you like to be the host or be the replacement host? And I just love Otto's so good right now. Otto's such a great, terrific character right now. I mean, I'm trying to make this video. I was trying to make this video around 7 minutes, but we're already at 10. This ReZero brings out such good conversation, and I love it. And I hope you guys actually love the new background. For anyone that's wanting to know, these are disc plates. These things you can take to the, well, not necessarily. You'll have to put them in your will because they're actually metal posters, so they'll never lose quality unless you drop them or something. You have to do something to them, right? But other than that, they'll always be in this mint condition. So, also though, looking down at my notes really quick because I can't remember everything, we find out that Amelia was actually frozen, right, since she was like 6, and Puck was the person who got her out of there. And in order to obtain more from memories, Puck had to go. What a heartbreaking scene. And I had to ask myself, I was like, am I going to cry here? I was like, is this going to bring out a tear or two in me? And the answer was very close. And if I watched it again, it may have. Because you got to think, Amelia had a family. Once we get a little bit of the flashbacks, she had a family. She lost that family. And it wasn't even necessarily her real family. But they were there for her. She's always been alone until Puck came and freed her, right? And then Puck lived with her for the next 10, 12 years or whatever, since she's in her at least mid-teen. I know she's at least 16, 17 now, 18 maybe. But that's a person that's always been really her true family, right? The person that's been there since she was a kid. Roswaal is there for different reasons. I mean, she knew that. Amelia knew that. That's why she kind of called herself out and felt guilty when she shouldn't have. I mean, who wouldn't want to, like Subaru said, who wouldn't want to try to help people they truly care about, especially family, people that they love? But and that's okay. Like that's perfectly, totally, I didn't screw this up, totally fine. But looking at that, that's dark. That it explains a lot about Amelia. I mean, Ram said she needs to get past some things, and the reason why she's not excelling is because she has issues, and she's not facing them. She's running from them. And whenever she goes into the trial, she's seeing those issues that she totally forgot about. And that's the thing, though. It's a whole trial. The trial will bring out the memories in which she has not been able to access. So outside the memories she can access, I'm imagining the trial is getting into the deep depth, dark, webs of her brain, per se, and in our memories. So, like, she may remember part of the stuff that's showing her. So my impression is it's showing her what she remembers, right, before Puck broke the contract. But then it's showing her extra stuff that she had to question whether it was real, like with Subaru. Subaru had to question whether his return by death was really not erasing that sequence or that life he was on. We noticed that Subaru, we got seen that every time Subaru does die, guess what? That present is always there. Just despite him returning by death and starting over, that loop it's still absolute. It's still there. Like those people, like Amelia lost you. Amelia can't get you back in that. Amelia's heartbroken in that loop. Rim's heartbroken in that loop. Guess what? Rim's also gone in that loop. You didn't save her. She's forever in that state, in that loop, because you gave up. Listen, sometimes you're not going to make it through things, Subaru. What's Echidna's, or not necessarily Echidna's message, but all the witches' messages. Sometimes you're not going to get through things. Like sometimes return by death may absolutely have to be in play. But you gotta care because you hurt people around you when you leave them behind. And that was the thing that Subaru had to get over. That was the hump. He had to love himself and understand that the people around him genuinely care about him. And every time he does mean his demise, he hurts those people. Amelia, you're hurting yourself because you don't want to face yourself. Subaru had to face himself, and he had to realize that people care about him. And he had to regain that humanity. He had to ego check himself. He had to make sure that he knew that he wasn't the only person going through this, and other people could walk through hell with him. Because walking through hell alone is impossible. Walking through hell with allies, that's the best chance you got, even if it's not possible. And we see just by him reaching out to Otto and Puck, he's getting information. Just by him saying something to Ram helped him out and gave him a little bit of information. I mean, just by directly having a conversation with Roswaal, look where he is now. Now he knows much more than he did before. Now he is in a bet with Roswaal that could put Roswaal on his side, which would be freaking insane. That they would truly be OP with his power on his side. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to think about here. I mean, Subaru just can't do these things by himself. He had to accept that he needed help and that sometimes your friends got to hurt with you in order for you, yourself specifically, to get through your own troubles. I mean, your friends are there to make your troubles their troubles. That's why they're friends. They'll be there for you anytime, right? At least the most genuine ones. So, other than that, though, Puck leaving was crazy, but Puck had to do it for Amelia's sake in order for her to get her other memories back. It sucks, but it had to be done because Amelia was not going to grow unless it was done. So, but yeah, other than that, though, guys, did not want to make the longest of videos. Wanted to keep it kind of like, did not want to talk extra. I don't think I really did. I think every time you do kind of like a sequel, you need to talk about what happened recently in like the last 25% of the season prior, because it all plays into what's kind of going on now, especially ReZero whenever you have open-ended seasons, every time a season comes to a close. So other than that, though, looking at my notes, I think we're good here. And yeah, what did you guys think of this episode of ReZero? How happy are you that it's back? And no spoilers in the comment sections. As for anyone I see post a spoiler in the comment section, I will have to block them from the comment section, potentially. 2 strikes, you're definitely out, but yeah. So, other than that, though, guys, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, X25. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Thanks for watching, guys.